go over hey, technically it's supposed to be at 12. They put 11:55 on the flyer, so I'ma just bypass that. If you guys remember from the last call that I was on, I gave that little story about putting the man together and putting the world together. Drop a 1 if you guys remember that. I want to see who's all active. And if you guys recall that story, drop a 1 in the chat for me. Bet. All right, cool. So I took that to heart. I've been sending, so I went and I bought this book. I had the PDF version of this book, but I wanted to get a paperback version of it. This is my little paper bookmark because I hadn't when I got one. But it's called Understanding the Purpose and Power of Men by Miles Monroe. There's also a version for women. There's also a book that says the exact same thing except for the woman. And the reason I'm not like sectioning this off and saying like, oh, this is only going to be a topic that I discuss with guys or anything of the sort is because it's very informative in terms of just both sets, both genders knowing, the purpose of each one, by coming to this earth. So it's actually very, very, I'm 2 chapters in. I'm going to go over solely the first chapter today. Some opening questions I just wanted to ask, and actually they have them right here because this is actually, it's almost like a study guide as well. I'm really digging it. It has me looking. It's really. I'm not gonna say. I wouldn't even say exposed, but just kind of giving me a certain clarity in the ambiguity that I feel within myself. I'm just like, oh, okay, so this isn't something that's like new. It's not anything that anyone else has been going through, and there's actually a reason that all of this is going on, like within myself. You see what I'm saying? So picking up this book has just 1 chapter in, and it's already helping me, reevaluate, the certain, battles that I face on a daily. One question is, I want you guys to think on really quick is, what defines a real man for you? And this isn't, we're not speaking on romanticism or anything like that. Well, you could, in some sense, but also, like fatherhood is also an approach to, how we view men in society. Men in position of power, you know what I mean? Like that, like different things like that. So one thing, I want to, just kind of ask yourself, like, how do I define what a real man is, right? And so as you start to envision the right man in your head, like, oh, this makes a great man. He has these qualities. He probably looks like this, acts like this, talks like this. You also want to ask yourself, okay, well, where did I get these values from? Like, what did I see throughout, the time period that I've been alive? For my new people that just joined, just gonna let y'all know, because I know some of y'all were on that call last week too, concerning putting the man together, putting the world together. And so I took that, like I said, I took that to heart. I went and I purchased this book. It's by Miles Monroe called Understanding the Purpose and Power of Men. There's a version for women as well. Like I say, the reason I'm not sectioning this off to just us men or just us guys is because it's very important for women to know exactly what men need and how men need to think and, how they need to develop their own purpose and self-identity. However, going back to where I was at, where was I at? Shoot. Yeah. So like I say, you want to ask yourself, okay, well, what is a real man, right? What defines a real man? What qualities does he possess? How does he think? How does he talk? How does he treat you know, the people around him? Where does his influence like? What does he involve himself? The things that he involves himself with on the daily, you know, like all of these type of things, right? You know, so everyone's going to have their own idea, their own image, their own, like, you know, like just your own perspective of what a real man is, right? So the second question I wanted to kind of lead y'all into is, you know, asking yourself, well, where did I get these ideas from? You know, was this from watching a bunch of Cinderella, you know, or was this watching like Rambo growing up, like Jet Li and you know, some good kick-ass characters and all that, you know. So like, you know, was it from your parents? Was it from a lack of fatherhood in your life? Was it because you seen both parents growing up? So your dad did certain things and there were certain things that your mom disliked, or, you know, there's certain things that he did or did not do to you growing up, you know what I mean? Because all of these come into play when thinking about, you know, what it is to actually be a man in this society, right? The first thing that this book, and then the next question, what was the other one? I think I had it somewhere. I seen it. Sorry, y'all. I actually didn't. Apologies with the E at the end. And for my guys, like, do you feel any confusion or frustration about what the roles and responsibilities of a male should be? Why or why not? So I just kind of want to go into the notes that I took in terms of the breakdown of the material, and just kind of shed light on what I've personally experienced and how I've had to, you know, go through these certain processes, right? So one thing that the book first states is that the male holds the key to the nations. We are, as men are basically the foundation of, and I'm not gonna say like the foundation, but, you know, they're the pioneers that shape society, right? It's been men for the last however many years and whatever we can think about it, you know what I mean? It's always and this isn't to take away from women at all, so don't think, you know, a couple of things can be fact checked. Like, I'm gonna just throw this out there. Everyone praises Mr. Bezos, the Amazon guy, the one who created and founded Amazon. You know, they give him so much credit for the business and what it is and what it entails, but he had to pay his wife, or his estranged wife, because yeah, she was the behind the scenes real deal handling business, like, you know, in terms of the structure of the Amazon. Like, I seen a small article, I read just a little bit of it, but that just ties into perfectly with why it is that a lot of times, like, it is women, you know, that basically are the behind the scenes worker, or making it like that they're the true foundation of what's, you know, going on and what's happening. One thing I can say for certain that I've seen just in the last 10, 15 years of studying life as a whole, you know, I've witnessed a progression of powerful Black women, just like Black women really taking their power back, and in a way where it was kind of like there was nothing you could do about it. And then at that same time, it's like simultaneously as this is occurring, the men are being left behind, right? The men are being left behind. It's just something I noticed, like, you see so much Black excellence, and I'm not to take away from men as a whole, but wholeheartedly, I see and feel energetically more powerful Black women stepping up, getting degrees, going to school, having 2-3 kids, and pushing all the way through. Like, I'm not gonna cap, I don't see any stories about a single dad saying, hey, such and such left me with babies, I had 2 kids, and I took them to class, I had to do this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, women really step up and handle business. And one of those reasons being is because of the crisis that the man is in, right? So, like I said, men are in a crisis, and they don't know who they are, and they don't know where they're going, right? Reason being is because there are conflicting views of manhood, basically meaning that you have the traditional set of views of what manhood is, and then you have our new contemporary views that, you know, society is dishing out to us. So, you know, a lot of us in society now, we might, on the outside, we might be pursuing, you know, a work life, you know, maybe marrying, you know, our woman, or starting a family, starting a business, all these certain things that we believe that give into our manhood, you know, make us more of a real man, right? However, and even in myself, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion on what actually defines a great man in this society, you know, and how things are changing and things are progressing, right? So there's like I said, there's a confliction views of manhood. The old and new ideas are going against each other. So one of the reasons that we're kind of leaving behind our old traditional ways of thinking is because our old way of thinking, not only did it not reflect the full purpose of men and what we're capable of and what we are to do as humans in this world. And that's another thing too. It's not just men who lost their sense of identity or lost their sense of purpose, but, you know, we as a human race, you know, have been trying to figure out since the dawn of time what it is to be human, right? We've been making countless efforts and, you know, becoming innovative and asking questions and looking to the stars and, you know, getting in tune with astrology and spirituality and sciences and religion. And we have all these different views and ideas. So just the human race as a whole has been trying to figure out what it is to be human. Men are really trying to figure out what it is to be men. You know what I mean? One of the reasons that we're leaving behind, and there is that confliction of views, is because one, there's the, you know, like I say, the innovations that we've been making. It's a press of a button and you're all the way in China, you know. So there's this global interconnectedness that's making it easy for us to kind of see what's happening in this society, what's happening here, how these people are thinking, you know, what this set of people is going through, you know. So you might see, you know, women fighting for a certain standard over in another country, and it's going to make the women in our country, be like, okay, hold on, well, that they kind of got a you know, a good reason to fight right now, right? On top of that, rise of, you know, the battle for equality and for women's rights has also caused a confliction in a lot of men and how they see, you know, their manhood being taken, I guess, kind of stripped away. The exportation of Western culture. So basically, you know, just a lot of countries, especially, I'm gonna just say China again, specifically because, you know, I see a lot of, you see a lot, you know, because when I think of China, I'm not gonna lie, I think of rice balls and karate. Like, that's just me, you know what I'm saying? But then when I get on the internet, you know, I'm seeing like guys dressed how the American guys are dressed, you know, they're, you know, kind of moving and, you know, acting how, you know, a lot of the men over in our country think, right? So there's this, like I say, there's this, the westernization and there's a mentality that's being sent out to, you know, varying countries and everywhere else, you know what I mean? So that, you know, when we fighting for independence and, you know, we're becoming self-sufficient and, you know, you guys know our history and everyone starts flocking over here because this is the land of the free, home of the brave, opportunity, this, that, and the third, right? It's so, and as we grew as an economy and as a society, our power and influence has also spread, you know, elsewhere, you know what I mean? So the same things that we've been kind of going through and seeing and having to, you know, transverse as a society, you know, we've kind of seeped out and made our way into, you know, other countries and things as such. So right now, men are trying to adjust and redefine their roles. One reason that is very, very hard for, you know, men and their interaction with women is because these times now, you know, we're taught to say, okay, men and women are equal. All right. But then at the same time, we're taught that, all right, well, you have to show a different type of appreciation for a woman. You have to, you know, show her a sense of delicacy. You know, there's a certain way you have to treat a woman, right? You have to be, you know, a little bit more, they're a little bit more fragile. You have to express courtesy, things like that. I can say, you know, me personally, you know, it's to the point where, you know, you were taught, or at least I was taught, that the man was supposed to be the breadwinner of the household, right? Men is supposed to be the breadwinner, the protector, the guider, right? But now that you have, you know, like I say, the advancements in technology, the advancements in mindset, and, you know, just women just stepping up to the plate and empowering themselves, you know, a man will say, I'm your protector, but then the woman will be like, well, I'm a cop, so I know how to defend myself. Or they can just be like, oh, I have a gun. I know how to use a gun. I was able to, like, the rights that we've been given, I'm able to go and, you know, protect myself. I don't necessarily need your protection. On top of that, men are thinking, okay, well, I'm the breadwinner. All right, well, I make more money than you, she can say. You see what I'm saying? A woman can say, well, I went to college. I got my degree. That with these 2 kids, I made this happen. So now I'm making more money than, you know, gangbanging guy who trying to come, you know, into a house and kick it in her apartment. You see what I'm saying? There's a certain level of just a different level of intellect also, you know. So when a lot of times, and this isn't to say that this is every household, but this is, like, I was reading a book and they were just speaking on about how a lot of times with the empowerment of women, they'll go on, you know, to take the school seriously, get their degrees, you know, so, and then they're working a very good paying job. So if in that great paying job, you know, there's a certain way that you articulate yourself. There's a certain way that you present yourself. There's certain conversations that you have, you know. So when she has to sit down at the dinner table, and talk about, you know, what, you know, if a man not matching her fly, this is just in the scenario and hypothetical that, like, you know, he's not making as much money as her. You know, she's really the breadwinner of the house. You know, there's certain conversations that he's not going to be able to hold because he didn't go and get that education that she did, or at that same time, he's not at that level of professionalism. So there's, you know, there's certain conversations that he can't hold with her, or he, you know, and then a lot of times, and a lot of men, because and it makes me feel weird saying it, because I personally, I've never been like that. However, men feel challenged by the empowerment of women. A lot of men, and it's really intriguing to me, because me personally, I've just always been a mama's boy. So, just, you know, valuing women and understanding the purpose and power that they play in your life is kind of just like backhand nature to me. But, you know, I'll see a lot of my peers and a lot of colleagues, or just a lot of conversations on the internet, like, men are angry, you know. And that's one thing that the book did say, is that, like, because of this lack of identity and this lack of purpose, and the confliction between the traditional and the more contemporary views of manhood, us men do not know how to react to it, you know. So, and a lot of times what they do is they become angry, and when they become angry, it leads to abuse in the household. Men tend to really try to reassert their old traditional dominance, so they'll become just that much more overbearing and that much more, like I say, condescending in nature, in terms of just how they influence their families, influence their workplace, and society as a whole, right? I can say I personally, you know, I really had to ask myself, I was like, damn, like, what is it to be a man nowadays? Because I remember when, you know, I had an apartment, me and my ex, and, you know, I came in, and then I was like, hey, yo, you know, you don't gotta touch a bill. Like, you know, I'm making bank. I'm doing what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? To handle business as I handle business as a man, because that's what I was told a man does, right? That's the role of a man. And one thing that I do want to touch on is that there is going to be a difference between a role, a manhood, roles in the manhood, and then the identity of men, right? Because that is where the problem lies. Excuse my stuttering. But like I told myself, I was like, yeah, if I'm breadwinning, but bada bing, bada boom, I gotta handle my shits, right? And then she comes and says, well, I just want to make my own money, right? So, you know, she's able to do her own thing, and then, like, you know, I have some bad days or some bad weeks at work where my check might not look as nice. So now, you know, she helps in and chips in, you know, for the rent or something like that. So then the conversation pops up on Facebook, or is it like, hey, are y'all going 50-50 with your partner, or is the man taking care of everything, right? And I felt like I was split in the middle. Like I was like, okay, well, nah, bro. If I'm head honcho, like, yeah, my shorty not finna touch nothing. Then at the same time, like, well, sheesh, boy, like 2 is better than 1. And the 50 men and women are equal. So I can kind of swing with either one, you know what I'm saying? So there is a confliction, right? Because there's no concrete, like, there is no solidified idea or role of what here and her, or him and her should do, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, you know, the household and things like that. So I can say that even personally, I've ran into that. You know, how am I supposed to think about that, right? Let's see. Like I said, men have defined their manhood by various roles fulfilled to families, society as a whole. And because these roles are in transition with no concrete definition of manhood, it leaves everyone kind of frustrated, right? Like I said, some men shun women empowerment and attempt to reassert traditional dominance due to fear of losing control. Now we're sitting at this crucial crossroads. There's a crisis of male purpose and identity, right? Because men are stuck in this uncertainty of what it is to actually be a real man. They develop a, you know, mind state to where, you know, it's defensive. You know what I mean? Like you'll see a lot of men just very, very reactive to just a lot of things, you know, when it comes to women, and just seeing them branch off from being so dependent upon them and being able to be, you know, independent and, you know, more powerful in a sense in terms of the workplace, you know, sometimes, and things as such, right? I think Drake said in one of his songs, he asked himself, he was like, why do I feel like I want an independent woman that feel like she needs me? Like, for some odd reason, you know, we as men, we want the women to depend on us. We want to see, okay, like, all right, because you depend on me, that means I have to go and I got to make this bread, right? Because that is the role that I was given, right? So like I say, those type of roles are kind of being like stretched out, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, that's not necessarily your role anymore. Your role as protector and as breadwinner is kind of being shaky now, because the woman can do that for herself, right? One thing that I did see is like, let's see. Yeah, one of the other reasons that traditional values aren't really going to work now, because, you know, we don't necessarily want to just throw it all away, you know what I mean? And then like the new ideas of manhood that are kind of being pushed to society are very conflicting and ambiguous. So, you know, like it's kind of shaky, but, you know, we what Tupac said, he was like, the old way wasn't working for us, so it's up to us to do what we gotta do to survive. You know, the old traditional ways that men would think about, you know, how the household should be ran and what should be done and not done, it led to the value of women. You know what I mean? That was probably one of the biggest things. A little gem that I caught from the book, where it was like how much of an influence or how much of an effect that the male being in crisis, right? With the male being in crisis, it really affects societies as a whole. Because think about it, teen pregnancy. As much as we like to say, oh, she spread her legs open, there was somebody who was just trying to get a quick nut and flip and dip. You see what I'm saying? Poverty and crime. It said, how often do you see, right, when the mug shots pop up in the newspaper, or you just see like a set of, you know, just compilation of people who did this, that, and the third. never have you seen where more than 50% of the candidates have been women. 50% or more of the people sitting in that paper, you've never seen more women than men, right? But you will always see more men than women because men contribute like that. That's one of the negative effects of the man being in crisis, right? We contribute to these, how do I put that? That wasn't about to come out right. But just men as a whole, we contribute to the downfall of society. You know what I mean? Because of the actual power that we have and we're not tapping into, and because we're so confused and so frustrated and so angry and so lost and so ignorant, it plays out into, the abusive household. The man coming home beating his wife because dinner wasn't cooked right? Abusing his kids, exactly. Drinking heavy, feeling like, he's not man enough because he can't do whatever it is he thinks that a man should be able to do or not do, right? So, it says that the issue is not a biological one of maleness, but it's the lack of the spiritual identity. Because there is an inherent purpose that men and women were created for, in terms of us being put forth to this earth. You see what I mean? So in order to really help society, we have to start with men. You see what I mean? Because and that's the reason why I played the song Snow on the Bluff, because the conversation that popped up after that was they were kind of angry at J. Cole because they were like, oh, well, Breonna Taylor just got killed. There was a video that went viral of a girl being thrown into the dumpster by black men, or, young black men. And, and they was like, and he's in this song addressing a black woman about giving patience to black men, right? And as I listened to the song, I was like, well, I didn't really get that. What I really heard was, if you're going to be preaching to whoever you're preaching to, like, you're not preaching to the masses, like the people that and he said, he was like, what's the point of you teaching your teachings to people who already believe what you believe? Like, that's not the point. You have to go and help the ones who are ignorant. You have to go and help the ones who do need the assistance. And in doing so, they're not going to embrace that information, right? Think about it. It's kind of like bringing this opportunity to poverty-stricken individuals. How often can you go up to someone and say, hey, I can make money. I can help you make money from your phone. And they just, oh, yeah, I'm already on that. If they're already on that, it's different. But if their mindset is something totally off in a way, and it conflicts with what they value and how they think and where they think they should get their money from, right? I've tried to hit up a couple of dudes from the hood about it, but, they're rather scam. Nothing wrong with it, right? The government take from us sometimes is right to, take back. You feel me? But it's difficult, so that's the vibe that I got from the song. But I also at the same time, it is a necessity. It is necessary because, like I say, the women are kind of leaving the man behind, right? And in doing so, it's not necessarily helping because men are still going to be the same assholes that they have been. You know what I mean? If it's a global issue. You know what I mean? If as a world as a whole, if we can't get men to understand how to think, right? How to think, how to interact, and how to be involved spiritually, right? In their manhood and their maleness, then all this progression and movement that we're doing moving forward, it's just there's going to be a continuous like toxicity going on. There's going to be that cancer. There's going to be that group of individuals and men that just can't seem to progress and hit that next echelon, in terms of becoming more, you know, I don't even know the words I'm looking for. One thing like I said, I didn't want to keep y'all too long. One thing I did want to touch up on is how relationships between the man and the woman have become very, very conflicting. Just going back to Caveman Days, it was like, you know, and this is where the roles come in at, you know, because women are more prone to pregnancy and having children and nurturing. They're, you know, biologically predisposed to do so. Men, we come out stronger. We come out more fit, you know. So in the olden days, you know, we're the ones going out to hunt. Not saying that, you know, women couldn't hunt, but majorly speaking, the men are going to be the ones that go out and hunt for the food. You know, they're going to have to go put their lives out on the line, you know, because anything can happen out there. You can get hit by a wild boar, or, you know, the boar that you were trying to catch, or, you know, some snake bit you or something. So, you know, and because there was no way to communicate, you know, through Telegram and anything like that, like, it was kind of a waiting game. Like, this man might come home tonight, he might not. So in seeing him come home, you know, she had to hold it down. She had to hold the fort down while he was gone. Take care of the house, take care of the kids, you know, while he was out doing that. So to see him come home, there was this appreciation that she was able to give him, right? Because he fulfilled his role. And then as he comes home, he sees the house is good, the kids are growing up, they're looking plump. He's like, all right, you're fulfilling your role, right? So now there's just that is what defined the relationship between the man and woman was, okay, your role is fulfilled, my role is fulfilled, we're both alive, let's keep it pushing, right? But now we got things like Forex, you know, doctors, lawyers, a lot of our jobs, we're spending time in the office. It's not as life risking as it used to be. You see what I'm saying? We can make money from our phones, sitting from our homes and our couches, right? We got a lot of chair women in the business. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of chairwomen in the business. Men, one of the things that men used to like to do is flaunt the funds around. Like, yeah, I got that bag, baby, what's up? Half of y'all in here will look at that and be like, okay, like, all right, what's next? So because of the progression of women's empowerment and, you know, just being more prevalent in the workplace, just being more prevalent in society, having a stronger voice in terms of what's dictating what's going on and what's not happening. It's but really, men have, like, we got to come with something different, and it's difficult for us because when, you know, and this is just a traditional thing that progressed from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation, right? There's a mindset, there's a mentality that, oh, okay, I'm going to do this and you're going to do this. However, now that we're not looked at to be the sole breadwinner, right? Okay, so now outside of bringing in money that she doesn't need or offering protection, which she doesn't need, there's something else that she wants from you, right? She wants attention. She wants time, energy, you know, she wants affection. And I can just tell y'all, like, just from experience, that's probably one of the most difficult. And it was crazy reading this because then I was like, dang, bro, like, that literally was me. Like, that's the conversation I used to have. I used to tell her, like, yo, I'm tired. Like, I've been at work all night. It's been 9 hours from 6 p.m. to it's about 3 a.m. right now. I don't got it in me to come smiling right now. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to probably be grumpy. Like, I just don't like, and you want me to do what? Something so simple as, you know, just showing affection. It was almost like it just couldn't happen for some reason, for some odd reason. Why? I don't know. And I would think that I'm a pretty, you know, emotional individual, and I show appreciation, but very, very minimum, you know, because that's not what I was taught. I wasn't taught how to, and it's not something even I seen growing up, right? Because in my household, that's a whole nother call that we can do. I didn't get to see what it was like for what a and there was no real definition for it, but what a real man was supposed to do and be. The only thing I was taught, you know, by my mom was to not be like the very individuals that were sitting in front of me. Uncles, cousins, fathers. You know, I got a biological dad and I had a stepfather, and both of them boys weren't nothing. You know, I take what I can from them, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like I can see how you all was just lost. You know what I'm saying? Young. My dad had me when he was at 17. My stepdad came into my life when he was 19, right? So, but I could see how the constriction from society and the lack of awareness, the ignorance, you know, how it played out. And as I'm reading this book, I can see how just it's based almost all of us, right? And at the same time, as society has to feel the effects of what's happening, the black man, and one of the reasons why the black man has fallen behind in terms of the black woman is primarily because, and this is not to try to make it a racial thing, but it is, they know that in order to destroy the household, you got to take the head. You see what I mean? And that's just one perspective of how to look at the household, right? But think about it. When you take the power from the men, right, in slavery, and then you start, you know, the men feel so emasculated when they have to watch their wife get raped, or know that the baby that's inside their belly is about to come out a mixed baby because the master was doing whatever he was doing, right? Things like that cause genetic consequences, you know, that we have to deal with, you know, that were passed on through generations, right? I was reading something a few years back, looking at how there was a war on black men. There was a war on black men, and it started with marijuana. It started with marijuana because jazz music was popping, right? Jazz music was hitting heavy, and, you know, just the swagger that the black folk came with, you know, the white people were coming in and just vibing. They were like digging the music, digging the vibes, digging the whole shebangs, like men and women. However, you know, the old heads, the old white men, the traditional white men were getting scared that, oh wow, all of our daughters are going to start falling for these men. You know, they're having intercourse with these men. Right there you go. They're about to now what's going to happen is now that there's all this interconnectedness, they were afraid that white people are going to go extinct, because if all of our daughters are about to start intertwining with these apes and these monkeys, and all their babies are going to come out mixed, and then those mixed babies are going to probably also do this with more black, you know, so just over time, and which has already kind of happened, none of us are fully one race of anything or any sort. So that was just some fear that old white men had, that they used to start, you know, the war on drugs, which really was just the war on black men, right? Get as many in jail as you can, right? Then the uprising of private prisons became a thing, right? So now that you're starting to take all these black men out of society, now you're putting them into confined spaces. You're feeding them shit. One thing that we all know and we talk about is how important it is to eat right, right? Think just the type of, and I've picked, excuse my language, I used to work at Cheney's. I seen the type of stuff that we sent to the jails. You know what I mean? We don't send nothing to the jail, just like rat poop, bro. Right? I've visited my uncles in prison. I got a cousin I've just connected with again. He has another 4 years. You know what I mean? But you know, these cause, like eating the wrong type of food, eating food that's not even really food, causes chemical imbalances, right? Then whatever does the type of brutal things that go on in the prison, right? You're breaking these men. You're breaking their character. You're taking whatever masculinity they think they have, right? Boom. Now that you remove them from the household and from society, now who was once the breadwinner, he's not. There is no breadwinner in the house. So that's when you start coming up with Section 8 and government funding. So now the woman of the household has to, the woman of the household has to rely on the government now in order to make things shake, right? Which is why, but because of the retracement of Black men inside in society as a whole, you know what I mean? Black women have had no choice but to step up and, say, okay, this government funding ain't finna kick it for long. I really got to get up and get it out the mud, right? Because recidivism is also a thing. Recidivism being how easily it is for you to go into the system and then go right back into the system, and you come out and then you right back in, right? So recidivism rates are high. So now that you taking the man from society, broken and beaten him, then you send him back out to his household, and guess what he starts to do? Beating and breaking the family, right? Beating her down, breaking the son down, doing all that. So now you got him shackled, a mental shackle. You see what I'm saying? You got him right under your feet. You got your strings on him, because you know that the things that you fed him physically, mentally, he's gonna come back. It's kind of like if like a torture method where you inject someone with like methamphetamine, right? Their body is going to have no choice but to desire more of it. Like, I didn't like this before, but now that you forced it on me, you forced it in me. Now I need some. So they know that whatever they implemented into these men, you know what I'm saying? It's going to make them retrace and come back there. So you could have been a great man trying to, do more for your family, but because we put you into the system, now we're making it hard for you to get a decent paying job, right? Now we're going to make it extra difficult for you to just receive any type of rewards or benefits from us, right? We're making your life that much more difficult. It's hard for you to even get a license now. You see what I'm saying? So what value can you truly bring to her and bring to your family or your household aside from hitting the streets, right? Running it up, dealing drugs, the same drugs that they're putting into society. Because the crack in the 80s was not funded by us, and it did not come from us. I promise. Like, it's put there. The war on drugs was created. They funded it. They put the drugs in there, and they still continue to do it now. The government banks off of drug money. Drug money is what pulled us out of the Depression. When all the banks and everything went shutting down, and all the cash flow from cartels and things like that is what brought us back. So not because they know that the means in which you're going to have to go and try to provide and be a valuable asset to your family are the same means that are going to allow us to take you from them, put you right back into this, and then say less. I got you. Now that we've done that, right? We're going to take you away from your family again. So guess now what that does. So now you got a son, you know what I'm saying? Young Black boy growing up. Guess what happens now? Unintentionally, it's not even unintentionally, but just like, I don't even know the word for it, but just kind of like, it kind of inadvertently put shackles on his mind too. Because now the only thing that he sees is in and out of jail, beating on his mom, drugs in and out the house. You see what I'm saying? And it's conflicting with him, because is this how I'm supposed to be? What actually am I supposed to be like? Because you know, you're going to tell me that, hey, all right, I'm a real man. You're coming out of all of this and you're doing all of these things and you're telling me you're a real man. You're coming to me, hitting me in my chest, man up, do this, do that. It take this, it take that. What are you? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? You know what I mean? So now that young boy has really no clue on how to walk into his true manhood or find his identity as a male, you know what I'm saying? In the spiritual sense and just as a role, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times my folk didn't even put the roles right in, you know what I'm saying? They ain't even do that part. Like I literally watched my mother. My mama got 8 children, right? And then one got took from us. So she had, you know, 4, between like 4 and 6 throughout those few years. But between my dad, my uncle, cousins, like she was raising like 10 kids at a time. I would literally get up for school, he sleep. I'd go to school, come back, he still sleep. Now my mom, she up before me, she working. I get out of school, she's still at work. She comes back, she has to cook, she has to clean. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that, you know, we're getting up, make sure that we're, you know, things like that. So seeing all of these things play out and really being able to pinpoint, all right, there's a lack of spiritual identity, which is what, you know, we need to get our society on track as a whole. You know what I mean? And that's why I believe that, you know, this book is going to continue to be a great read. And I'm going to continue to take notes and come through to offer more gems on it. But that was just the first chapter of where it was taking me and the things that I was able to, you know, look at, you know, from my past experiences, what I seen growing up, what I've experienced growing up. And wholeheartedly, I truly just, if I can't do anything else, you know, it's like, damn, I forgot how the saying goes, but basically the person who does an evil deed is a bad person, but the person who sees it and does nothing about it is even worse, right? Someone who sits on the knowledge, the person who has the knowledge to fix society yet doesn't do anything, just sits on it, doesn't do anything with it, is far worse than the person who's hurting society. So, you know, I feel like that this is a little more closer to my purpose, because if I can't do anything else, especially utilizing this platform, is, you know, helping us as a whole, you know what I mean, man and woman. Because like I say, it says understanding the purpose and power of men. There's also one that says understand the purpose and power of women, and he recommends that men read the one for women and women read the one for men, primarily because you need to know how this person should be thinking or how this person should be moving, like in the spiritual identity sense. You see what I'm saying? Because there are certain things that women are more capable of doing than, you know, men are, and there are things that men are more capable of doing than the women are. And being able to find that balance amongst all of these conflicting ideas and contemporary ideologies that are like just coming out and coming at us all at once, is really this is if I can do anything to help, you know, bring a certain clarity to our identity, like I want to do so. You know what I'm saying? Through my music, you know, through the, like, I'm not planning on it. It's already, the plans have already been set out. Like I might be one of the biggest artists. Not saying the best, not saying the biggest, but one of the biggest. Like Lil Baby said, he like, I got power now, so I gotta say something. You see what I mean? So with that being said, I appreciate all y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for staying on, taking this info for this hour. Solid 14 deep. Christian, thank you for showing up, bro, because you already know what I need from you, boy. So I would need you to handle that for me. Christian's gonna end us off with a prayer, and I hope y'all. I'm gonna see y'all again next Sunday, and we just gonna keep running it up with these gems and this knowledge, and really just reshaping the way that we think, because that's what repent means. Repent doesn't mean to like stop what you're doing or this, that. No, repent literally means change your thought process. That's it. Like, you need to think differently. The reason when God is asking us to repent or repent for your sins or repent for that, it's just like, nah, just go in there and tweet, just click a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just turn that over and do that. So I'm gonna go ahead, mute myself. Christian, if you're still in here, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm right here.
Bet that, bro. Or do your thing, bro. We need that.
For sure.
Appreciate you, bro.
All love. Everybody close your eyes, bow your head for me. Dear Lord, we just come to you right now just saying thanks. Just saying thank you for Marlon this call and just bringing us the knowledge. Hopefully it gives us the spiritual awakening and just an awakening of the mind that we need, Lord, just to continue to move forward as people, Lord, just as individuals. Lord, I just pray over everybody on this call right now. I pray that you bless them with massive success and just allow them to grow into into the individuals that you want them to be and who they are meant to be. Lord, because we know we're all meant for greatness, and it's instilled in us, and you've given us all the resources to be great, Lord. So we just ask that you continue to just guide us and walk us through this life. We still try to navigate and jump over these hurdles and go through these brick walls, Lord, that's always put in front of us. Just allow us to endure, give us stamina and just give us the ability to endure everything that's thrown at us, Lord, because you made us that way. You built us strong, you built us great, and you built us all to be successful and just blessed, Lord. And so we just thank you for that. And we just ask that right now, I just pray for all the people in the world right now, Lord, that are going through the struggle. We know that the struggle doesn't make us, Lord. It doesn't. Our struggle don't identify us, but we know that the struggles will allow us to grow and allow us to be the people that we are meant to be. So we just want to say thank you and just ask that you continue to walk with us on every step. Be that umbrella in the rain for us. Be that palm tree in the sun, Lord, just keeping us in the shade, Lord, and just protecting us and just guiding us, Lord, and be our guiding light through the darkness. Allow your light to shine through us and allow us to be the guiding light in somebody else's life. Allow us to just impact others with this opportunity. Allow us to serve our purpose, find our purpose and serve our purpose, Lord, and just know that we're always protected by you under your name. In your son Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.